Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Medium by Design. Now, this is a personal family story and two messages that involve my father's rabbit passing. Those that are close to me know about this. This happened in 2019, but for those that have animals and know they feel their animal's soul and they have a deep, deep connection to their animal, to their pets or animals in general, these messages are really over the top. And it explains a lot of things about our emotions that are tied to animals, but it goes way beyond almost anything I could explain in words. So I have two messages from the soul of the rabbit, but as you will soon see, the rabbit is connected to another soul, or I could say another soul is connected to the rabbit, that is a human soul. So what stimulated these writings was my father had a very irrational, emotional reaction to the loss of his 12-year-old rabbit. And the way the rabbit came to them was really, really funny at the time. And you'll see what the rabbit had done, what the soul of the rabbit had decided to do. It was at someone else's house, not too close by, but in the same area. And it ran away. And it ran right to my parents' house and just sat there in the winter, possibly in the snow, if I remember correctly. And my father just went out and started talking to it, and you could see it was a domesticated rabbit. So, my father went through a lot of things with this rabbit. It turned out it was very sick because it's not used to being out in the snow. So anyway, the bond was created through that initial discovery on their property. Okay, so here's what the rabbit first had to say when it first died, and this is very interesting. It is true, I had an uncommon bond to your dad. I did choose to be and live at their house because the first house I was at was loud and kids were running the show most of the time. As an old soul also, I needed something more stable as well as wanting to share the love of someone without being used as a toy. Very interesting observation this soul had. Children often take advantage of their pets without realizing what they are doing. Your dad was very attentive to my needs and truly treated me like a friend. I truly did want to see both your parents every day. I enjoyed the camaraderie of the three of us. I mean, it's so unreal. Even to me, I haven't read this in a while. It's just so beyond. Now for the parts you may not understand. On a soul level, your dad and I know each other very well. We stood in many battles together. We shared intimate details of our lives. We enjoyed many beers even during a few of our lives together. We shared everything. This level of intimacy does not happen every lifetime, and this is why he is having such a hard time. He cannot remember all the many times we shared, but he can feel the depth of our connection, which for some would be impossible or even ludicrous. So, it is also true what your friend said, that he so wanted to just come with me and still remains in this place, not wanting to truly realize that we had our time and that time is done. Now, the reference that they're getting at there is my father, at that point of grief, wanted to leave, wanted to die. He didn't want to go through the separation of the soul leaving. It was very, very intense. And my father, just so you know, he might have a lot of anger. Being a New Jersey Italian, there's a lot of anger and reaction, but emotions he doesn't do well with. It's just not his thing. My sister and I are more emotional and we have to deal with that. This is not him. So this was a very strange experience for my dad. Okay. It is now time for him to continue on and decide all those things he wishes to do for the rest of his days. He truly does have more time to enjoy and a chance to live a new and different lifestyle than what he had the last 10 years. It is also true that the comfort level was high with the three of us, but that also stopped creative expression. Once the house was completed, they moved in and I arrived. Your dad truly believed that this was it. I am sharing with you today to remind him that this is not true. There is more to come, more to share, and some excitement to be had if he chooses to get his head out of the clouds and gain a new focus and a new clarity of what he wishes to experience. I would like you to convey these words as he needs to refocus his attention on what really matters now and not what he believes he lost. So now the three of you need to get your heads together and create a new experience that you each can have fun with before the next one of you runs out of time. There truly is only so much time we have to share together, and you each need to make the best of it. Look how I did it. Almost 12 years alive and 10 living like royalty. Not bad for a rabbit. Oh, can you follow this? I mean, my mother was floored with this, right? It was just amazing. And I did this hoping my father would have a better time with his grief and get through that a little easier, understanding the depth of the soul, which at the time, we don't think he really got it. So something happened after this message, and now I'm going to give you the second message, and you're not going to believe this. So my closest spiritual friend had a visitation from a man, and she got his name, James Endicott. And this is the soul that connected itself to our rabbit, to my father's rabbit. So she called me and she said, listen, I think you want to check out this guy. And then we actually looked up the guy, and he was in his whole family. They had a line of people in the services, in the armed services. So the first piece of information that my dad was comrades with this guy was true, from what we gathered from this James Endicott history that we found. So this was just really intriguing and had me like, and then she suggested, why don't you sit and write from James and see what he has to say? Well, here's what he had to say. And keep in mind, he actually visited my friend to give her the message that he had something to share, and then she could give that back to me. Well, this keeps getting better and better from my side of life. I knew I had to share something with you earlier to help your dad start to understand how our souls keep and stay connected after we each change our soul direction. Now I would like to share a little more about what went on with us and how important it is to keep our minds clear when this level of soul connection is being completed. This is to help us with our grief and understand soul connection. When I say completed, it does not mean we will never meet again or do anything together again. It simply means that this part of our relationship and ability to share in this particular way has ended. I pushed the life of that rabbit as far as it could go and loved every minute of it, but even I could not make a miracle happen and have the rabbit live another 10 years. And quite frankly, I have no right to do that. I can overextend what I want to have. I cannot overextend what I want to have and infringe on your parents' way of life. We had a long time to have an amazing life sharing, but everything must come to an end on this earth. truly, nothing is meant to last forever. This really gets to me because as a soul, he respects the life of the rabbit, because rabbits don't generally live for 12 years. I don't know who knows this, who's watching this video. That's not common. And we had rabbits when I was growing up, and their lifespan was, 5 to 8 maybe, and maybe one lucked out and lived for 9, but 12 was unheard of. So that's kind of interesting how he respects all the other souls, including my parents. With that said, we need to really get into what is in store next for you and your parents. There are multiple opportunities to explore and be creative with. There are people here in Phoenix that your father would enjoy meeting and putting his 2 cents into any projects that come up. The first project could be your own new home together that would be perfect for them to come whenever they want and stay as long as they want. He has never given any other type of living a chance. He has always wanted to stay connected to New Jersey for fear of him losing something. What he never considered is what he would be gaining. He always sees things as win or lose, loss or gain. But his mind believes there is nowhere else he can gain anything else than that is better than what he has. Talk about the Leo king on his throne. My father's a Leo, for your information. So you see how he's trying to change my dad's perception of loss and perceiving things as loss, and his odd connection to New Jersey that he can't let go of. It's just very interesting to me. If he could open his eyes and be honest with what he is truly tired of and take a moment to visualize what else he might want to experience, he would get very clear vision and answers. There is never one place you can experience everything and everyone your soul wants to experience. There is always more. Far too often people get so comfortable and believe that the effort it takes to make the change is not worth it. As you know, Salvatore, the many changes you really did not want to do were worth every minute. You are a very different person that moved from New Jersey 23 years ago, and even more different than the one that moved from Florida 12 years ago. This is the truth. This is the true meaning of life, to move forward and enjoy another experience you never had on your list. Of course, you can have numerous goals of things you would like to do, and even a bucket list of what you want to do before you leave. Now, however, it is possible to just be open to the best experiences with the best people, simply to enjoy yourself. Your family has had moments of joy and laughter and great success that allowed them to live a fairly comfortable life. But true joy has almost been elusive. I'm not going to expand on that now, but this is very, very true about the simplicity of joy in our family's life. Joy comes in many forms, but the most rewarding and surprising is between people. The surprises that can come simply from knowing certain people and allowing them to show up in your life and bring whatever they want to bring simply to bless you. Salvatore, you experienced this yesterday at the water store. You were so taken off guard when the woman yelled, "You're back," and gave you the biggest hug. You had no clue that was coming, and it gave you... I remember this moment, and this is a few years ago. And, this is so touching. You had no clue what was coming, and it gave you the greatest sense of joy and knowing that you are truly loved. And this from a woman you only know buying water. I would like all of you to have this experience on a daily basis. Your parents get a small taste when they go shopping or see their friends in Atlantic City, but I want them to receive more. If they choose to be open and meet more people and go to different gatherings, they could feel more supported and even loved more than they ever have in their entire lives. Of course, I cannot force you guys to see the light of change, but I definitely can tell you there is more for you if you decide to make a change. Can you believe this is the man that my father knows from other lifetimes, connected to this rabbit Do you see the wealth of insight that a soul that you cannot meet physically again in this life for various reasons, because the soul's on to something else, but look at this wisdom and insight from the death of a rabbit. I mean, this is what I mean about this work. It never ends. It goes very, very deep. And the sad part is humanity in general has no effing clue how deep life really is and can be. And that's my little frustration about doing this work. My mother has read this at least 15 times. And she reads it to my father, trying to instill the advice and the insight that this man brought after the rabbit died. Let's continue. You have managed to remain relatively healthy, this is to my parents, and are very able to move and drive and do whatever you wish to do. Take advantage of this and use your body, mind, and spirit to get more out of life before there is not more life to have. Nothing you have presently is important. Nothing you are holding on to means anything if you have no joy. Remember, he said something about lack of joy with our family. Comfort is not even a good goal. Comfort has meant you feel good where you are, but you do not express anything of significance. Creative drive, the God force that you each carry, needs to have outlets. If you have nowhere to put your energy or use your ideas, that energy sits stagnant. You remain uninspired and disinterested. If you put yourself in a new environment, you get new ideas and you feel invigorated. You literally got stale. I know you feel this. I could feel it from you the last 2 years. And it's true because my mother said it. My mother said, the 2 years prior to the rabbit dying, she said to my father and me, we're sitting here waiting to die. And this is two healthy people. So I hope this stimulates us and inspires us to, do more creative things and, do things that get us up off our asses. Because, my parents, they're obviously they're older. As a matter of fact, this year he's 81, right? So they're up there. But they can, he still drives. They still run around. They can communicate clearly for the most part. So let's continue. The last couple of years, things have become boring, stale, and stagnant. You can deny it, but you know deep down it's true. You have been simply going through the motions because you do not believe there is anything else at your age. And the group of people you know is the same. When you meet other people your age or older in a new environment, you will be surprised who is driving at 85, 90, and that's not miles per hour, that's age, 85 years old and 90 years old, and where they are going. They are social. They want to meet and be stimulated with others. They laugh and they just hang out with other good people. This is what life at your age should look like. Laughter is the number one thing to bring your joy back. Meeting others who are enjoying life is another good catalyst. I want you to think hard on what I am sharing with you and get your heads clear of what is truly important. Although you, Sal, my father's Sal, I'm Salvatore. Although you, Sal, and I had a great soul history and now got to be friends. Got to be friends again for many years. There is so much more. I'm getting another one of those waves I told you about, just giving me the shivers, right? I'm sorry if I brought you to a place of complacency, but those days are over. Get your vision, get your head on straight, and get going. I want to watch you get your balls back on and make some shit happen. That was very New Jersey slang. But I hope you can receive this, because the depth of this soul connected to this rabbit and my father is beyond anything I thought I would do. And see what I mean? How this keeps evolving, and I have to stay open to what soul is connected to this experience, right? So if you have animals, if you've had animals and you've had an experience very emotional like this with your animal, just know that it's quite likely your animal had another soul that knows you connected to it. And this is not uncommon, because I've had people tell me, I used to do a lot of animal communication. That was another part of my work. I did horses and a lot of dogs and a lot of cats. I went to people's homes. And the reason I backed off from that is because of the crying. I was crying all the time. Believe it or not, even worse than what I do now. So I couldn't take it. The feeling of the horses was so powerful. And I would love to do, sorry about that. I would love to do that work again, but I just need help with this emotional side. I can't do that all the time. It's just upsetting to me to feel all that emotion. So I'm hoping it is getting better, but it's still there. And so I kind of backed off from the animal stuff. And the likelihood is, the explanation of this is, I'm feeling the love of the souls. And the love, if you go back and look up my Paul Walker video, Paul Walker from Fast and Furious movies, he explains the love that's on the other side. And when I read that message, I can't help but to cry either, because he experienced, when he crossed over, that we are that love. We're made of that. And you look at the world and you look at people and you go, how could that be true? Look at the lack of love. And we can get into that another time. But the truth is, this is where we come from. We come from a very pure light. And that light is love. So when Paul Walker died, he explained that to us. It's worth looking up. Go to my playlist. Go to the Famous People playlist. And it's beautiful how he describes it. It's just beyond. So, excuse me. Here we go again. So, this message has that. It has that purity and that love, which is so fucking powerful. I just wish people would feel it. I really do. I really wish that people would feel that level of love, because if it was felt more, if our hearts were more open, the shit that's going down now would be gone overnight. It would be gone, because people would not have a need to project, control. I don't want to get into all that now. This is not the video for that. But just know that if you can open your heart and feel at this level, your life will change, because you will experience that love on earth. It's here. It's here for all of us. But we have to want it. We have to be open to it. So, again, we're at the end of this video. So you can like, you can subscribe, you can share. I said that on the last video. You can start sharing these videos to people who you think would benefit. This still might be unique to some people, but this really is the way life is for me. And I don't see why we can't all enjoy this stuff. If I'm sharing it with you, why can't people just enjoy it? Enjoy it with me. I'm sharing a part of life that, if we bounce this up in priorities and made this experience more of a priority, our world would change overnight, because all this is based in love. These messages are all coming to me out of a love stream that should help us. That's my simple intention sharing this with you guys, is that it helps people move out of whatever darkness they happen to be dealing with and then go further. Just not getting out of darkness, but how about being inspired to be more than what they were before they experienced this level of love? That's really what it's about. And you know all those videos I have with the creative energies. And a lot of my videos talk about the creative drive, the impulses that we have, the inspiration that we get. So I'm going to sign off here, but I appreciate you watching. I love the comments. I love the exchanges I've had with some of you. There is a PayPal button if you feel this has a monetary value to you. Of course, I welcome that. That would be great. And you know, my email address, I forget to say this, but my email address is there. If you want your own writing, you want to request a writing or an astrology reading, I still do astrology. I've been doing that for eons. Literally, my soul knows astrology from many past lives. So I still do that, and we are getting groups back slowly. And it is what it is. They have been profound groups, but they've been extremely small. But they have been really nice. So that we started that in 2021. So I guess that's it for now. I appreciate you watching, and remember, hopefully, there is always more to come on the Medium by Design.